Well, amongst all of this, England are playing Malta, which is a chance for everyone to have a pop at Gareth Southgate. It's been a bit. It's kind of mandatory that you trash his selection for this game for at least something. Is it Raheem Sterling, Adrian?
Do you know what? I don't have a massive issue because as good as he's been this season, and he has been excellent. I think no one's had more touches in the box, no one's tried more dribbles, and he's on the eye test. He's in form, isn't he, Raheem Sterling? But I don't think this England team need Raheem Sterling. They've got a lot of quality in the wide areas. You've got Saka, Foden, Grealish for a start, Rashford, who scored against Italy even though he's been in mediocre form for Manchester United. I can actually understand why he's missed out, and in a way, as an England supporter, I'd rather see Cole Palmer. I'd rather just have a little look at him over these two games than go back to Raheem Sterling. I don't think the door's completely shut on him, but at the moment, he's unlucky that there's such stiff competition.
And Sterling was the regular in that England attack alongside Harry Kane. They were the two players that were there every single match from the start. He clearly trusted by Gareth Southgate, and the last game he started for England was that USA group stage match, which was a year ago now in the World Cup. And he obviously had the leave mid-tournament. He had his issue with the break-in in his home in England and had to return, and then he sort of went back and he came on as a sub, but he never seemed to force his way back into the starting lineup. And I always thought that
break in, ironically.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a case where Sterling, I mean, his form has clearly picked up this season for Chelsea. He's a player that makes things happen. He's a player you can rely on to do a job, I think, in that attack rather than be the main man. But I mean, as Adrian said, there's so many options in that squad, and I think at the stage England are at, you want to see these players being given a chance because that's the point of these games, right?
Okay. Cole Palmer getting his first call up. Rico Lewis and Ezri Konza also coming in for a raft of withdrawals. Bellingham, Colwell, Maddison, Dunk, and Callum Wilson. Duncan, a thought on the England lineup before we discuss Malta?
Yeah, I think as Adrian said, Cole Palmer has been sort of the most exciting difference in the Premier League the last few weeks, and hopefully he'll get. I don't think he'll start, maybe, but he'll get a run out. I mean, the Malta fixture reminds me of watching the friendly in 2000, which I was supposed to go to something, and I was like, no, I want to watch Malta England, and it was a really bad game, and it was a real sort of insight into how England were going to be really bad at the Euros. It was Richard Wright's only start, scored an own goal. Southgate came on. Kevin Phillips was up front. It was warning signs. I think it's quite. If you look at the England team now, 23 years later, it's quite different.
Right, quite different. Richard Wright, that own goal. So that was a retaken penalty that came off the post, hit the back of his head, and went in. And that, I believe I'm right in saying, is the only goal that Malta have ever scored against England. Adrian, is there Malta this team that meets the eye?
Well, they've got a player that I do know a little bit about.
Okay.
In Jody Jones, who plays for Notts County. He's actually been really, really good this season. He's a left winger, but he's a little bit of a sort of Saka, as in that he can play left back, play right wing, he can play left wing. He's played as striker. Very sort of all-round footballer, but what makes him stand out in League Two is the assists, the crosses. No one in League Two's got more assists than Jody Jones this season. So
really,
yeah. So from that left-hand side, if that's where he lines up, we're going to have to stop the ammunition because he can deliver a decent ball.
Maltese cross.
Yeah.
Nice. The Totally Football Show podcast is available 3 times a week, bringing you all the football news you could reasonably be expected to care about. We've got views, we've got stats, we've got analysis, we've got some of the best football writers around, and the whole thing is absolutely free. So have a listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all the usual places by clicking on the link below.